Welcome to the Dowden Podcast. I'm your host, the official CRG, and today I want to talk about poverty in different countries and why you should be grateful for everything you have and own. But before we get started, make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. That way you don't miss any weekly episodes and posts. You can find video of this episode strictly on YouTube, but the audio everywhere else. Now, the reason I want to shine light on this topic today is because there's a lot of people in today's society who take all the little things for granted when thousands and thousands of people around the world would just kill to have or do what you have right now. And the reason I'm saying this is because I recently just took a trip to some places around Mexico and Honduras. And it was absolutely beautiful, but it was also another way of life because where I was, big cities didn't exist. You just had a nice little tourist spot and then either jungle or sand for miles and miles. And locals still found a way to absolutely thrive off of it. And seeing that made me think if people in today's society could actually survive in those conditions. And I genuinely think they wouldn't be able to because we rely so much on our phones and other technology when that stuff doesn't work there. And what I mean by it doesn't work there is a lot of the times on these small islands or really just poverty ridden countries, you don't have Wi Fi or even power. And if there is, it's very, very minimal, having multiple communities come together using what they can. Also, clean water is another big problem in different countries, so most communities have to take mile-long trips to the closest water source and then bring it all back to then filter it before using it. And that takes hours and hours, and they do that over and over, countless times a week for all the families and communities. Plus, on top of that, food and money is then a whole nother problem because there are no big AC cooled grocery stores. Instead, you have little markets and you can either go to get fresh meat or vegetables that were caught that day, or you can go out and get it yourself. Those are really the only two options because you're not going to go walk into a Wawa or a 7-Eleven and get what you want. It doesn't work there in most of these countries. Also, when it comes to money in the countries that are very poverty ridden, they can't then pay to feed their people, having people work, 12 to 13-hour days for not even $5. And when I went, I asked a lot of the locals, what is US dollar to their money? And actually, I can even show you guys here. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but here I have a Hispanic dollar. This is 20 pesos. So this is equivalent to $1. So 20 pesos of their coins is equivalent to one of our US dollars. And then this is something that I got in Honduras. That is very old money. It's probably backwards for you guys. I'm sorry about that. But just to show you guys. And that was also very cool. But our money difference is drastic there. And we earn and have an economy that is able to stabilize that much funding more than most countries. And that's just one form of poverty out of thousands and thousands of different forms because it's not always that extreme, but that doesn't mean others don't struggle just as much. But I'm genuinely just getting tired of hearing Americans or even people complain about their lives on a day-to-day basis. Because yes, we all have things going on. Yes, countries do go through things. Economies do crash. Prices do get raised. But at the end of the day, at least we have that stuff. At least we're lucky to live in a country like the United States and be able to do and say exactly what we want when we want. Because in other countries, you don't have the option to do that. So if you're living in a country like America or Canada or the UK, where you are safe, you are secure, you can speak freely, who cares if you don't have time to play video games because of school? Or who cares if you don't have time to go out to the bar because you worked all day? At least you are able to play those video games. At least your family or even you can generate enough money, which is around $300 to $400, just so you can be entertained. Same thing with work. At least you're able to go work 8 hours and get paid for it. At least you're making more than $12 for 12 hours. We have to be a lot more grateful for what we have. And I'm going to put a picture up now. It might disturb some of you. I doubt it. But this is something I took in Honduras. And this is a picture of a boy and a girl playing with this construction wheel for about 12 hours straight, laughing and screaming like it was the time of their lives. And it just made me think, because while I'm on vacation, while I'm looking at all these different cities, I'm able to come home to a computer. We're able to come home to a house. I can go to my bed and sleep. These kids don't have that. And there's a lot of people who take everything for granted. If you have a car, at least you have a car. At least you're not walking to work. If you have a roof over your head, thank God, because most people don't. So next time you receive something or go somewhere, or even something as simple as just taking a shower, think about everything you have done in your life and what you have, and realize how lucky you are to be able to do any of it. Because while we as people who are in a safe country complain about taxes or it being too high, or not getting paid $100,000, or having people make millions and millions and millions of dollars and keep it to themselves, there's people who are struggling to eat. There's people who are struggling to speak their own religion without getting criticized, or even worse. We have so much freedom, yet as a society, we act like we are in absolute hell. But with that said, today's quote is by an unknown person, but it said, "Poverty exists not because we cannot feed the poor, but because we cannot satisfy the rich." I appreciate you tuning in. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And this is the Dowden Podcast.